Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to IFYL, Inspirations for Your Life. If you're new to IFYL, you probably noticed that QR code at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Well, welcome. Take your phone, point to that QR code, scan it, and that'll direct you over to some great information at believemeachieve.com, which is my link tree, which has lots of great videos, science, motivational, everything's about motivation anyway. JCM Academy, of course, IFYL, and so much more. So definitely check that out, including my other flagship show, J More Tech Talk Show, which is a nationwide tech talk show. All right. And we have some great guests and many celebrities that actually join us. So hopefully you will check that out. And you know how we roll. We start with a Saturday, we finish on a Friday, and we have a brand new master topic. For those that are coming back, welcome back, my friends, colleagues, and wonderful associates. Thank you so much for being here with me. Appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And hopefully some of the new people will become loyal just like you've been for so long. Let's get right into the master topic, shall we? All right. Our master topic for tonight is, everybody ready? How to brainstorm. Series episode number 3. So when we talk about brainstorming, what goes through your head? When I say, what do you think about when I say brainstorm? Probably free association, maybe trying to solve a problem, maybe trying to get new ideas, find a different way to make something, right? Allow people to be a little more free and basically not have to worry about fear that they might be criticized or judged, right? That's what brainstorming means in its real pure core. Can you brainstorm by yourself? Yeah, brainstorming is definitely a skill. It's a skill that we use every single day. And it's something you'll get better at. So think about that for a moment. So I think when we think about the core of brainstorming, it's a very free flow way. And when we have that free flow way, a lot of creative juices flow, but a lot of ideas start to happen, right? So there are different ways you can brainstorm. You could verbal brainstorm, okay? You could brainstorm on paper, right? And of course, you can do electronic brainstorming. But it's not as effective as verbal brainstorming. I'll tell you that right now. So how brainstorming works is pretty amazing. It's really pretty amazing. So I will tell you that brainstorming is something that you as an individual will definitely want to get better at. So brainstorming is a skill. How do you practice brainstorming? I think that's what everyone asks me. Well, it's not hard. Set a time limit. Start with a problem statement. Point of view, how, when, could, plan, a goal, and make a decision up front that you're going to defer any judgment or criticism from anyone for any reason. Encourage weird, wacky, and crazy, zany ideas because they may be the next catapult to your company's success. Aim for quantity, not quality when you brainstorm. We can always get rid of things later, right? But when we brainstorm, we want to talk about quantity because we're looking for that gem, that diamond in the rough. The other nice thing about brainstorming is that it allows us to build upon other people's ideas. Now, if you remember what I said a long time ago, we remember things that latch on to something else we already know. I called it a foundation. So when I want to teach you something new, I first try to figure out, do you know anything about that? Or do you know something similar to that? If you remember when I was talking about chemistry and no one had done chemistry before, I said, has anybody here ever mixed paint? Okay. Anybody here ever baked? Yes. So you understood the mixing concept, right? And so I was able to take those areas and bring them back and forth. That was really, really cool. And so when you do this, it opens up this whole Pandora's box. Like, hey, you know what? I do know how to do chemistry. Well, you get the idea, right? There are some little, let's say, nuances to chemistry that don't exist in paint, or maybe don't exist, I should say, in baking. But the general gist of it is the same. We have to be very cognizant of how we measure, what we put in first. Time is also important, right? Thinking about brainstorming right now. And if I said to you, I want you to brainstorm for me a better way to reach people. And I said, you got 5 minutes to do this. Think about all the ways you can reach people. Well, you could go online. You could make a poster. You could tell your friends. You could message them on Facebook. You could send messages on other social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. You could write a story, right? How else could you get people engaged? You could create a video, as I do every day. Create a short video, maybe make a reel or something like that. How else could you engage people? I think by asking people questions and figuring out which ones make them want to become more curious. You see, because people that are curious, they have a very unique trait to them. They'll stop at nothing because they just want to know how. If you're younger and you ever watched a magician, I know I was a magician many years ago, and I remember my grandparents always would get me these really expensive tricks. And I know when I would go to the magic store, one of them was in Disney or Magic Kingdom. Another one was actually on the bridge there in the Night Entertainment Village, or I think it was Disney Village was the other place. And so they would have a back room, and they would only take you in the back room after you bought the trick. So they would show you how to do the trick. And then you could come out and do it, and then suddenly it was pretty cool. Brainstorming. Brainstorming starts with a thought. Think of brainstorming like sailing. Many of you know that I love to sail, and I sailed competitively for many years. Before you could start any race, you have to first figure out where the wind's coming from. Once you've done that, you have to make sure that you understand how, why, and when the wind is hitting your boat and what it does to your boat, right? You have to be cognizant of things like weight. Now, when you first start becoming a sailor, you don't think about all these little nuances on the boat, like the weight and positioning, and if the sail is off a little bit or the wind is hitting a little bit closer to the front. You just don't think about that. You know that there is reaching, okay, which is when the sail is all the way out, which is when the wind hits from the back. Sorry, that's actually running. Reaching is when the sail is in a little bit. That would be more reaching. That's on the side, comes over the toward the side, and then if it comes over the side, basically you're beating more toward the bow, but not on the bow. If it was on the bow, it would be an iron. So you have reaching where the sail is like halfway out. Okay. You have beating where the wind is just on the left or the right of the nose of the boat, the bow. Because if it was right on the bow, you would be in irons. And then if the wind hits you from behind, then you've got the sail all the way out, your dagger centerboard all the way up, and you're just kind of gliding. So when you do brainstorming, I want you to think of it like swimming. Okay? Swimming's a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys like water. Myself being a Pisces, I love water. Water has this very unique set of properties to it that just makes things form. But you have to know how water works. And you have to understand what makes water work and what makes water not work. Like where do problems come in? And so when you can understand the properties of something, like let's take the game chess, for example. And I say, let's brainstorm how to play a better game of chess. The first thing you have to understand is, how do the pieces move on the chessboard? How does the knight move? Moves in an L. How does the bishop move? Moves in a diamond. How does the queen move? Moves any way she wants, right? How does the king move? Can move any direction, but only in one or two steps at a time, right? So a rook can move just basically forward and backward, but it can't move sideways. Understanding each piece and how it comes together in the dichotomy of chess can help you be a great chess player. But if you want to brainstorm how to be better at something, I think you first have to write down where you are right now. And then just figure out other words that come to you when you think of the word chess, or if you think of the word winning, or if you think of the word success. Just write those all down on a piece of paper. And as I said, connect them. This is one of my favorite ways to brainstorm. You write a whole bunch of words down on a piece of paper, right? Then you put all the ones, let's say, like you kind of categorize, like this is a category, you'll make it a category. Another one, a category. And then you'll see there's other ones there. You can write them underneath, or you can just put other words and you can start linking them. Well, what has to do with time management? Oh, clocks, assignments, deadlines. So you get the idea. Now, some things you might not do anything with because that's just how they are, right? Other things might be a repetition of something else. And then finally, some things may lead you to more things, like more, let's call it group topics. And before you know it, you have a full piece of paper with all these balloons on it with different lines. And you start to appreciate that. And your brain doesn't always work with lines and crosses, unfortunately. It just doesn't always work with paper or the computer when you type. It wants to have an ability to be free. When you think of free, you think of brainstorming. Brainstorming. Now you might be saying, John, how do you practice brainstorming if I never did it before? Well, we talked about setting the time limit. We talked about the problem or the challenge statement. Remember to defer judgment. Encourage those weird, wacky, zany ideas. Aim for quantity, not quality. And make sure that when someone else says something, that you try to let you listen. And like, for example, if somebody says to you, I don't know, somebody says to you, advertising. Someone else might come and say, oh, Facebook, LinkedIn, Bing, 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 Bing. Cost per click, cost per acquisition. And all these things start to come up. And then other things come up like return on investment, unique selling proposition, right? Customer, feelings, emotions. People don't buy for what you know. People know and buy for the way you make them feel. Let me say that again. People don't buy for what you know. They buy for how you make them feel. So if you're a schmucky salesperson and you're knocking these people because they're not getting you, they're not going to want to buy from you. But they're like, oh, yeah, that's a great question. Every question is always a great question. Okay? And when you do that, people are going to be like, oh, I can ask him anything. You see, practicing brainstorming is an essential survival skill that you need in life. And if you don't believe you need this in life, then I would go back and start learning right now who were some of the best brainstormers. who are some of the best brainstormers in history. Buffington, Camille, Christina, and some of them are in the sports industry, right? But I think the most important thing is when you say stormers, you have to realize stormers is more in the sports. If you say brainstorm or brainstorming, that's a little bit different. So I think the thing I want to share with you tonight is that in order to brainstorm, you don't need to be, and you shouldn't be stuffy in one room. You can go outside, you can go on a trip. Make it as free as possible while still keeping everyone on track. Important to have the time, important to make sure that the ideas coming up are on track, but you don't want to stop anybody. Later on, when you refine things, you could just pick things out that resonate. Say, well, gee, I like that, or I like this, or I like that. When you can build upon other people's ideas, that causes a real unique situation. One where people want to become more engaged. People want to give their input. They want to be part of something. They don't want to be the end of something. They want to be part of something. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, been a pleasure, been an honor to be with you this wonderful evening. I hope you'll like, love, and support my channel. And of course, I hope that you will not only do that, but you'll comment below. What do you think about brainstorming? And of course, tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. And then be sure to go to my YouTube channel and click on the PayPal link and make the choice to buy my team and I a nice, savory, hot, delicious cup of hot cocoa or a fine piece of chocolate cake or maybe a nice, refreshing beverage. Either way, we'll be grateful with those pennies and dollars. We'll invest them into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, motivational content to empower you to change your life. I hope you enjoyed this episode, series number 3, in How to Brainstorm. We got so much work coming, so make sure that you stay tuned because there's a lot that you're going to want to know about how to brainstorm and how these little skills and traits can give you the edge over your competitors. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care.